Yo, what's good, my peoples? So, we're going to kick this show off, and I'm going to give you a review of WWE Raw, September 16th, 2013. Today's show, it was a pretty good show tonight. It really picked up from Night of Champions last night, and I think it did a pretty good job of setting up new storylines and doing a few things that would needed to be done. I think Night of Champions last night was basically a transitioning pay-per-view to say, okay, we're going to give you something, but we need to transition away from the pre-SummerSlam storylines to the new stuff that we're doing. So we start off the night with Daniel Bryan coming to the ring and doing his whole, yes, yes, yes stuff, that he finally happy that he got the belt back. And then Triple H coming out before he can even shoot a promo and basically, saying that, what do you say, that it was a fast count and he doesn't deserve the belt and, stuff like that. And Randy Orton came out and they tried to take the belt from him, and if you saw the show, you know what happened. I thought this was a pretty good segment here. I wasn't too sure about whether or not I was going to like what was going on in the ending of last night's pay-per-view, and whether or not it was going to be good for them to take that fast count and actually use it as a storyline. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was really nice the way they did it. Triple H did go a little bit too far, kept showing the packages and stuff, and they did the package of showing the fast three count again at the end of the night, and I really didn't like that, and I'll talk about it when it comes up. So they strip Daniel Bryan of the belts, and I'm just eager to see where they go from there. Next was the Dolph Ziggler versus Dean Ambrose match, a rematch from last night's pay-per-view. I like that they did this match because they're trying to get the chemistry between these two guys up more. Even though it is a rematch from the pay-per-view, it was something that I think needed to happen in a way. They needed to get Dolph Ziggler a win. They needed to kind of put a little hinge in the armor of the Shield, and they needed to get more of that story going forward. So a win for Dolph Ziggler makes me happy, and a good match makes me happy. So let's go. The next match was Fandango versus R-Truth. There's something they can do with these two guys. I just don't know what. Fandango wins the match. I don't know where they're going to go from here, but I like Fandango. His character and his movesets are getting better, and I've always liked R-Truth. So let's just see where they go from here with these guys. Next we have the Dusty Rhodes and Stephanie McMahon promo, and the dude Dusty Rhodes, man, fucking legend. That's all I gotta say about that shit. Dude's a legend. He comes out, does an awesome promo. Fans, stop with this what chant shit. There's no need to chant what in every promo. Some guys like R-Truth, you can chant it and they know how to use it right. And it's not even the idea of using it right, it's that it doesn't really need to be done. You don't need to chant what. Don't do it. Dusty Rhodes cut an awesome promo. A legend who hasn't been cutting promos on live TV for a long time comes out and look like he hasn't, got any rust on his pipes at all. And Stephanie McMahon comes out and she basically says, I can give the job back, but it only can go to one of your kids. And she was saying that Goldust didn't really have a good career, so I can give him that job and revitalize him, or I can give it to the younger son who's just now about to hit his prime. And Dusty Rhodes said, I'm not gonna pick whatever kid you're gonna give this job to. I don't go around. Do you go around to your kids and say you're the favorite, now the other ones go off? No, so he was, the dude came with logic and said some good stuff. So Stephanie, got pissed and she called down the Shield and Big Show. And I like the end of this segment. A lot of people have been talking shit about the Big Show crying and stuff, but I think when it's done right, like it was tonight, it works. Having Big Show just furious, not wanting to hit a legend, somebody who he probably looked up to, and he has to do it because they're going to take money from him. Plus, also the Shield is going to beat the shit out of Dusty Rhodes. That's a point where you're going to have some emotions, and I don't think there's anything wrong with him showing emotions. It's just that less is more idea, I guess. But he gives a nice little jab to Dusty. Dusty falls, he catches him, and I like that he stayed with him the whole time, even hopping in the ambulance with him. That was pretty cool, and it ended up being a good segment. And moving on from there, next we had the Diva section, not triple threat, whatever you want to call it, a tag team match or whatever. It was the Total Divas on one side and the heel Divas on the other. Brie Bella wins. I didn't really pay that much attention to the match. The thing that I cared most about was AJ Lee and Natalya on mic, and their little bickering between them two. Natalya's mic wasn't working, so AJ Lee basically had to trash her without the mic, and she was doing a good job of that. The King is still, dude needs to retire, man, because it's not that he's being a face or anything. He's just being idiotic on the mic. He's not saying anything worth of value to say something to a heel that a face would say, and it's nothing worth the value that he's saying. So AJ Lee is just throwing all this gold, and none of them are really picking up and saying anything back. JBL's a heel on the table, so he can't really do anything, and Michael Cole is too dumb to say something. So once they get Natalya's mic on, which the King should have gave her his headset in the first place. He's just stupid, so he doesn't know that. But I'm interested to see where they go with that. The other divas, I don't know. I guess they can have them in other wrestling stuff, but I guess it's just to get them to talking. So yeah, it was good for that, but the in-ring stuff, it was just filler basically. Next we got Rob Van Dam versus Damian Sandow, like a third match these guys have had. A good match, but it does nothing for both guys. Yes, I mean Damian Sandow has already been beaten by Rob Van Dam twice already, so there is no need for a rubber match. And it does nothing as far as whether or not they look good doing the match, because the first time looked good, so it should have been they face Rob Van Dam versus another face. Versus another heel would have worked. I don't see the reason why you need to face him against the same heel. There's other, heels in his same position out there they could put him up against. So you could have put him up against Fandango. I don't know where they're gonna go with that. But you didn't even get what was his name, Alberto Del Rio tonight. So it was really nothing to that storyline going on, and I'm having hopes that they can probably sneak something in there in this short time before the next pay-per-view, but so far there's nothing. The next was Randy Orton versus The Miz. Before that, The Miz was backstage with the general manager, and he ended up getting this match, saying, I want a match with the former world champion to prove myself. And it was what happened here was really good. The whole storyline stuff was really good here. Having, The Miz getting straight beat down by the guy who's supposed to be the top heel of the company, and a furious beat down, and what added to it was him beating him down in front of The Miz's parents. That right there, put 10 on 20. And what else happened? Them both being counted out. Just the viciousness that I was saying in my last review for the pay-per-view that I wanted to see in Randy Orton was exactly what I got tonight. And earlier in the night, they had Stephanie telling Randy Orton what happened to your vicious side, and he's starting to bring a little bit of that back. He doesn't need to injure guys every night, but anger. That's what we need. That's what we want. That's what he has to do. And he puts the chair on the Miz's neck and does a running knee drop front on the chair and injures the Miz. So this was a pretty nice segment. I like what they did here, and hopefully we get more viciousness, what they used to call ruthless aggression, from Randy Orton. That would get me to like him to do more as a heel. Next was the Paul Heyman segment, probably one of my favorite segments of the night. So Curtis Axel rolls out Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman's with Ryback, and Paul Heyman's basically talking, oh, I beat CM Punk, and it's on the record books that I beat him. But the best part of this promo was Paul Heyman, just congratulating and saying his thanks to Ryback, calling him a big, beautiful human being and stuff, and just Ryback saying he hates bullies, and just the idea of what they were doing tonight was just so beautiful. And then the funniest thing was Paul Heyman kissing Ryback on the cheek, like like your grandpa would kiss you, like if you done something good. That I laughed so hard when that happened. Then the look that Paul Heyman gave Ryback, like, I was like, that shit was funny to me. So yeah, that was a really, really good segment. And people who are hating on this just because it's Ryback just doesn't make sense to me. I think this was the part of Ryback's character that he needed. He needed something to move him forward, and he needed some help on his character as far as ghetto copter, as far as being the complete and total package. And I think Paul Heyman is it. And Paul Heyman can do the same thing for Ryback that he did for Brock Lesnar, and that's it could have been the same thing with Curtis Axel, but Curtis Axel is is just not there. The next match was the Usos versus the Tons of Funk versus the Real Americans in a what was it, a triple threat elimination tag team match. Really good match. It got way better once the Tons of Funk was eliminated, and it was just the Usos versus the Real Americans. Some good spots between both of the dudes, and the Usos come away with a win, and they actually gain a number one contendership from this match. So I like that they got the number one contendership early, and hopefully we can get a feud going on between both of these tag teams, the Usos and the Shield. And I like that they started early with this one, so it's a lot of promise. The last thing that happened tonight was Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns, and another good match. Nice, good length to the match. Daniel Bryan, very, very fast, used a lot of his agility, did what Daniel Bryan does. I think what really sold this match was seeing Roman Reigns. I don't think I've seen him in a singles match in a while, and having him be very brutal in this match. Great crowd reaction from him. Not just from the crowd, but him acting towards the crowd, and him doing all the things that a good heel is supposed to do. That was really good. Daniel Bryan hit a nice little sliding kick into what's his name? Seth Rollins' face. And Seth Rollins fall back and hits the announcer's table. That was really good. And then there was a couple other moves, I can't remember what they were, but that were really good in this match. It was a really good match. Yeah, it's not a lot I can say. They did the damn thing in that match. And then it was, even though it ended with another interference, the very ending was what made the cap of the night to me, and that was having after the interference happened and they're going with the traditional beating the shit out of Daniel Bryan stuff, most of the faces from the locker room fall out into rushed out into the ring to help Daniel Bryan. And they set this up because before the match, Daniel Bryan was walking to the ring and he had a gang of the faces, cheering him on, saying, go and do it, beat him. And even, little kayfabe had his girlfriend give him a hug, and while he's walking to the ring. So that was pretty cool. And just having them beating down the Shield and Randy Orton, and all the faces holding up Daniel Bryan and doing the yes thing. It looks like the whole idea is giving it's going to be a turnaround, that the faces are tired of the oppression and that they're going to rise up. And to me, I think a month of the beat downs and the turmoil that was going on in the locker room was long enough. People were saying, "Oh, extend it more." I'm like, a month was long enough. A lot of people were saying it was slow anyway. So I think they're doing the right thing here. And I'm very interested to see what happens on SmackDown and what happens on next week's Raw. And it was a pretty good show. I would give it a B+. Let's go Daniel Bryan is how I can end that with. So yeah, thank you for watching, and check out whatever else I put up. You can find me on Facebook and on Twitter at Compton Animator. So peace, little homies.